Britt Baker gets taken out with the trash. We also have all the AEW title matches set for Fyter Fest, and is the Dark Order adding to their ranks. What's up, everybody? Eric here from the Newswire on That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. So here's your AEW Dynamite Rundown. Adam Page and Kenny Omega started off the night defending their titles against the Natural Nightmares, Dustin, Rhodes, and QT Marshall. They retained their titles after Ali caused a little bit of a distraction on the outside, kind of taking QT's eye off the ball a bit, but it didn't really play heavily into the match as much as I thought it would. So I'm curious what the point was. Hopefully that gets clarified in the next week or two. Next, we have Anna Jay returning to Dynamite after she is now signed to AEW, but unfortunately she was bested by Abadon, making her Dynamite debut. She has been on Dark before. Interestingly, after the match, the Dark Order came out and they helped Anna Jay out of the ring and down the tunnel. Also, they delivered papers to Colt Cabana, who is sitting in the front row. We later learn that Brody Lee has booked him and Colt Cabana as a tag team into a match next week. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. Also, we had MJF took on Billy Don't Call Me Gunn Anymore, and MJF picked up the win after hitting Billy with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. At the end, though, after the match was where it got really interesting. Jungle Boy started yelling at MJF as MJF was leaving. They were in the front row, all of Jurassic Express, which then causes a brawl between Wardlow, MJF, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, and Luchasaurus, which then sets up next week. We're actually going to get Luchasaurus and Wardlow in a lumberjack match. So I thought they were going to hold this match off to a pay-per-view. This seems like a pay-per-view match. But no, they're going to do it on Dynamite next week in a lumberjack match. We also had Ricky Starks making his AEW debut. It was basically a tryout match. He is the former NWA TV champion. He answered the open challenge to Cody Rhodes' TNT championship. He eventually lost that outing, but did get signed to AEW after that match. So we will now be seeing Ricky Starks in AEW. In one of the more entertaining segments of the night, Tony Schiavone was going to do an interview with Britt Baker, but right before he announced that Penelope Ford was getting the title match against Hikaru Shida at Fyter Fest, and this made Britt pretty mad, so she asked Rebel, using the name Reba, to drive her away in the Rolls Royce. But then we find it's actually Big Swole at the wheel, and she drives off with her. Later in the show, about an hour later, we see Rebel running around frantically, looking at her phone, trying to track down where Britt Baker is. She's using the GPS on her phone, trying to find Britt's phone, and they find Britt in a dumpster, and some more hilarity ensues, and she says that she is going to get Big Swole for doing what she did. Jericho, in a backstage segment, explains why he attacked Orange Cassidy last week, explaining that he's sick of his laissez-faire attitude and his don't care about anything attitude, and that he walked through and interrupted the inner circle, and that is why he decided to juice the orange, if you will. And then we had Superbad Squad, which I guess they had to soften their name from Superbad Death Squad, versus Young Bucks, which mostly this match was to set up the feud or continue the feud with Butcher and Blade as they were on the outside, jaw-jacking at the Bucks the whole match. And then as Butcher and Blade started to get involved with the match, FTR came out to kind of even the sides. So we have FTR coming to the aid of the Young Bucks during this match to keep the outside interference away. Immediately after the match, though, Butcher and Blade hit the ring, started attacking the Young Bucks. FTR comes in to help out. And in the end, both of them hit their signature pile driver combos, the Bucks hitting the Indy Taker and FTR hitting Mindbreaker at the same time, and those two teams standing tall at the end. Interesting way how they are building this story, and they have not touched yet, FTR and Young Bucks that is, so I'm not sure how long they're going to drag this out. I'm guessing it's going to be quite a while before we actually see this match, but I think that's probably a good thing. Lastly, we have Best Friends. They keep their title shot at Fyter Fest, defeating Les Sex Gods, Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. After a cameraman trips Sammy while he's hitting the ropes, we then find out that it's actually Orange Cassidy, who then, after the match, comes into the ring and takes down Jericho a couple times and just punches him and punches him. So Orange Cassidy not playing the laissez-faire, no, don't care about anything attitude here. He was mad at Jericho and he wanted to send a message to Jericho. So we have, next week, we have Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. We have Brody Lee and Colt Cabana teaming up against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, and then Wardlow and Luchasaurus in a lumberjack match. And as I mentioned, we have the title matches set for Fyter Fest. We have Omega and Hangman versus Best Friends for the tag titles. We have Shida and Ford, which was announced on this show, for the AEW Women's title. We have Cody versus Jake Hager, which was announced last week for the TNT Championship. And of course, we have Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the AEW Heavyweight Championship or World Championship, whatever they're calling it these days. I can't remember. Anyways, so that is your AEW Dynamite rundown for this week. Thanks for tuning into the Newswire. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you can get more content like this. It's also available as a podcast. Just search for That's Wrestling Newswire. Be sure to tune in tonight and we do a full rundown of AEW Dynamite, and then at 9 o'clock Eastern, we will be doing the New Japan Cup Nights 1 and 2 rundown. So be sure to tune into that. And another reason to subscribe to this channel so you are alerted when those shows are going to go live. So thanks for tuning into the Newswire on That's Wrestling, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.